Hello and welcome to the BBC Schools Report. Today we're interviewing Graeme Rainey. Graeme, so we're going to just ask you a few questions here. So to start us off, how do you think Bootham compares to the previous school where you were?
Well, its obvious difference is that it's co-ed, and my previous school was girls only, so that's an obvious difference. It has more day students than my previous school was. More boarding than day, and Bootham is obviously more day boarding. It is, I suppose, less formal. So obviously you will be aware that we call each other by our first names, which I really like. So it's less formal. It's not any less structured, but it's different. It is so different.
Yes.
I'm not a very good person to ask to compare schools because when I moved to a new school, I've never compared it to what I've left. I think I'm here now and I'm enjoying what I'm doing here.
All right. Now, how would you say that the attitude of the students and the overall behavior or overall student body behave or act in comparison to your old schools? Or in comparison to your life, anything?
I guess that's quite a difficult question to answer. I think the big difference is between both my previous schools were girls' boarding schools, and in both of those, the behaviour of the girls, they were academically very able, so they were very driven, they wanted to succeed. Bootham, I think, is a bit more relaxed. I think that's partly because it's co-ed. I think it's partly that it's less academically selective than my previous schools. But I don't think the behaviour is it's not significantly different. I don't think, I know that the stereotypical response would be, oh, Bootham is really laid back and people just do whatever they like. But I don't see that. I think people are generally well behaved. They make sensible decisions for the most part. So not that different, but possibly a bit more relaxed.
So you play a lot of roles here at school. You sometimes are the deputy head even, you sometimes are a teacher, you sometimes play the role of counselor, things like that. So how do you feel about those roles, and which is your favorite?
I'm not sure if I have a favourite. Part of the reason I went for the job was because it was a job with those different roles. I would hate to be in a job which was the same every day, where you just came in and did the same thing. That would be so dull. And this job is certainly not that. So there probably haven't been 2 days, any 2 days since I've started, that have been the same, and often they are utterly unpredictable.
Right. So how are you finding staff relations here at Bootham?
What do you mean by staff relations?
Relations between teacher to teacher, head to teacher, that sort of thing.
So, in terms of how am I finding my colleagues?
Yes.
I think one of the things that impressed me when I came for an interview was how welcoming both the students and the staff were, and I arrived in September and found that to be true. I think people are generally very helpful. They have accepted that I've arrived and I'm new and I have a lot to learn, and have been able to point me in the right direction when I'm looking lost. It's a school, we're made up of human beings. I have good days and bad days. There are some times when I will smile and say good morning to everyone, and there'll be other days when I will probably not be so smiley. And I think generally we're all quite forgiving of each other. When we have a bad day, you just go, yeah, we're fine. So yeah, generally really welcoming, and happy to be part of that staff team.
Yeah, and I think everyone else feels this way, that you're a very welcoming sort of a person and a person who people can relate to very well.
Well, you have to say that because you're interviewing me.
Well, were there any other schools on your list before you settled on Bootham?
No, I had applied. I just applied to Bootham.
So, how do you find the boarding community at Bootham?
Absolutely hideous.
At least you're honest.
That's actually not true, but I did want to see your response. Both my previous schools were boarding schools. So I think boarding adds an important international dimension to the school, which I think is crucial for people who are being educated in the 21st century to have that global perspective and hopefully to end up with friends around the world. I think that's, if I was growing up now at school, I would love the thought that my best friend might be from Lagos or Shanghai or Moscow or wherever. I just think
Get an excuse to go on a good beach holiday occasionally.
And then, if you're leaving school, you think, well, in 5-10 years, might well be moved there, doing business there. I think it'd be great to have friends across the world.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important aspect that boarding brings.
Thank you very much for your time. This has been really helpful, and I hope that the listeners will feel the same way.
Thank you. You're welcome. I hope it goes well.